So Mortenax Blade has been out for a while now, and I've been testing the 4-piece Guard of Wuthering Snow set to see how viable it is for endgame content. Now some of you might be thinking, what is this guy talking about? Well, I don't blame you. It was from a simpler time when the developers didn't know what they were doing. But I think I found someone that can make full use of this set, and it is Mortenax Blade. You see, the Guard set can heal you by 8% health when you reach the character's turn. You can then combine that with a 50% increased incoming healing bonus from Blade's ultimate zone, and this can go even higher with a healing chest and the giant tree planner set. All of this means that you can have Mortenax Blade heal himself, but just how good is it really? Well, in this video, I'll get into how I would build Mortenax Blade on the 4-piece Guard set, and we're also going to take a look at 2 use cases that I have personally found to be useful. I also have some thoughts on what I think people should consider when they're trying to cook up unconventional builds for their needs, so without further ado, let's dive right in. Now, when it comes to the 4-piece Guard set, there are 2 types of teams that will benefit the most. Teams that run DHPT with his signature light cone, or teams that run Sustainless. So here are my recommendations. The healing chest will improve the healing that you receive. The speed boosts are important for achieving the breakpoint that you want to hit, because keep in mind, the Guard set bonus triggers when Blade takes a turn. HP Ore gives you more durability, and Energy Regeneration Rope gives you a faster turnaround on having your ultimate ready. And this can definitely come in handy, especially in Sustainless teams, since having your ultimate ready can allow your Blade to go right back into his ultimate state after he gets knocked out of it. For the planner sets, the giant tree set gives you speed and more healing, while Valwhack allows you to set up Blade's initial ultimate much earlier. For light cones, Cypher's signature cone gives additional defense down that synergizes well with Blade's own defense down, and the additional 18% speed makes building his speed much easier. Cypher's cone is by far the best option. Otherwise, if you don't want to build any effect hit rate at all, you can pick between his own signature cone or the tutorial cone. But if you're already using the tutorial cone on someone else, I would say that the battle pass cone or the resolution cone are also great alternatives. Just remember to build up enough effect hit rate so that you can apply their debuffs reliably. And speaking of the stats to focus on, here they are. The effect hit rate that you need will be dependent on the light cone that you use. For speed, if you want to go higher than 160, it's probably not going to be practical unless you have Cypher's signature light cone. Otherwise, feel free to go as far as you can in terms of defensive substats, especially if Sustainless teams are a consideration. So for now, let's go and take a look at some practical use cases. I'll start with how Blade can function with DHPT, so let's go and take a look together. Now, for those of you that have already tried using Mortenax Blade with DHPT together, you probably realize that at some point, even if you have DHPT's signature light cone, you simply don't have enough healing to allow your Blade to spam his skill. What's worse is that because Blade now has a layer of shield over him, he'll never be allowed to die and restore his health. I think for most people, you either drop DHPT altogether for a healer, or you resorted to spamming Blade's basic attack to slow down the rate of his HP loss. I'll say that from my own experiences so far, if you switched over to the 4-piece Guard set for Blade, you'll be able to spam his skill a lot more comfortably. The run that you're watching in the background was done in Anomaly Arbitration King, and since my Blade in this run is at E2, the demand on his HP is also higher than at E0, since we're now getting follow-ups after every 7 stacks instead of 9. And as we can see here, we're still keeping up with our skill spam very nicely. I'm also using Valwhack Planars here, so if you want even more comfort, you can go with the 2-piece giant tree planner set instead. Personally, I don't expect this use case to be the highlight for most people, but now that we are getting 3-team endgame modes across the board, it's very possible that you might find yourself in situations where it's hard to give up a healer for your Blade. For example, if you're using your Mono Remembrance team, Hyacinth is most likely going to be staying with them. And if you're also using an Elation team at the same time, Huohuo might also be too busy. On the other hand, maybe your Dong Hun is just really beefy, and you really want to make use of his personal buffs. So if you find yourself in these kind of situations, 4-piece Guard might just do the trick for you. Now, Sustainless usage is probably the topic that is on most people's minds when they're considering the 4-piece Guard set for Mortenax Blade. And before I continue, I do want to mention that Sustainless runs can certainly be done with the other relic sets, and often with higher performance ceilings. However, if you're looking for more overall comfort with Sustainless clears, I would say that the Guard set can accomplish that for you. The background footage that you're seeing here is with my free-to-play account, using a 160 speed E0 blade with S5 tutorial against Flame Reaver in the current APOC Shadow. The 4-piece Guard set allows me to skill spam more often, and if I feel like I need to hold back on my health, I can always resort to basic attacks. I'm also using Bonwhack here, mainly because I wanted it for my initial rotation, but if you want more heals, you can use Giant Tree. Overall, I'm pretty happy with his Sustainless capability. He's mostly there to give out his zone buffs, but he also does not mind taking hits. As far as comfort is concerned, it's definitely easier to play when compared to the other relic sets for Sustainless usage. Generally speaking, if you choose to run a Sustainless team in the first place, the idea is to be able to finish the fight quickly because you have an additional source of buffs for your team. For the Flame Reaver fight right here, Blade offers numerous buffs from his ultimate zone, and also provides frequent AoE attacks that gives my Big Herda the stacks that she needs to deal damage. And to give a little bit of a spoiler, later on during this run, I was able to avoid the Flame Reaver nuke attack during the second phase of the fight altogether, thanks to the extra bit of help that my blade was able to provide. Ultimately, I would say that the 4-piece Guard set is here to provide comfort in your runs when you're choosing not to run a healer on your team, and this will be coming at the expense of your personal damage. On the surface, you might think that the purpose of using 4-piece Guard is to be able to spam skills more often without a healer. While this is true, you also have to realize that your blade's personal damage is going to be lacking. This is because you're running a healing chest, and when you also want a ton of speed along with some effect hit rate on the side, it's going to be very hard to find room for offensive substats. Something that I think more people should realize is that just because you're allowed to spam more skills without a healer, it doesn't necessarily mean that doing so will directly translate to more personal damage. And I think it's important to remember to not get too lost in the rabbit hole of theory crafting here. Instead, I think it's worth taking a moment to think about why you want to be able to spam more skills in the first place. For my Aggron team on my main account, because the King stage features the little bugs that constantly cycle in and out as they die, I want to allow my blade to be able to apply the Cypher Lycon's defense down debuff at a high frequency. So for me, being able to spam skill more freely while being able to stick to using my E2S1 DHPT, who offers better personal buffs to my Aggron than my other sustains, became an important factor to me. And on the other hand, for my free-to-play account, being able to run Sustainless against Flame Reaver with my Big Herda team is not only more comfortable when Blade is on 4-piece Guard, but the more frequent skill spam also contributes more stacks for my Big Herda to deal more damage. If my Herda was more vertically invested, or if I opted for different teammates, then a different setup on my Blade might make more sense. But because I didn't want to put too much effort on the rest of my team, I would say that the 4-piece Guard set has done its job for my Blade here, at least in terms of comfort. So if there's anything that I hope you can learn from this video, it's that while I encourage people to try to cook up unconventional setups, just remember not to lose sight of the big picture. Whatever it is that you're trying to theory craft, make sure that it can actually accomplish what you're trying to do. I think both the Smith set and the Eagle set are enough for 99% of use cases, and they are often more effective than the Guard set. But if you're looking for comfort in an uncomfortable environment, the Guard set might just be the answer. And that's all for today. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video and you'd like to see more Honkai Star Rail content in the future, be sure to like and subscribe. I also stream on Twitch on a weekly basis with an emphasis on Honkai Star Rail gameplay and endgame, so feel free to check out the link in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.